Hi, this is Brian with Pintler Products, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install this new Anchor Caddy onto a row drift boat right here on the back of the transom. In your box you'll receive one Anchor Caddy body with a strap, the backer plate, 4 stainless bolts, 8 washers, and 4 stainless lock nuts, as well as a little bag of anti-seize lubricant. And some of the stuff you're going to need to gather up before the install. So you're going to need a drill, the 5/16 bit, tape measure, a 1/2 inch socket and a 1/2 inch wrench, a clamp. You're going to need some tape, some scissors, a Sharpie, scrap piece of plywood, and of course your safety glasses. Alright, once you've gathered all of that, it's time to get started on mounting. Alright, so next you're going to want to figure out where on the transom you're going to want to put this caddy. So my client and I have discussed it, and we're going to place this about 3 inches down from the top here to avoid the anchor eyelet being above the top of the boat. So any like line obstruction or anything like that. You want to be at least an inch below the top here just for added strength. Now that we've figured out where we're going to put our caddy, we're going to grab our masking tape. We're going to tape off the general area where the top of the caddy is going to go so that we can make some marks and make sure everything is nice and level when we're mounting the caddy. Now that we got our tape on there, we're going to use our tape measure and Sharpie to make a couple marks so that we can draw a straight line to reference when mounting this caddy. So we've decided on 3 inches down, so I'm going to make a mark over here and a mark over here, connect it with a straight line, and then on to the next step. Now that we've got our reference line, we can throw our Anchor Caddy back up there, line it up with the line, and then we can figure out where we want it to be from side to side. So once we've figured out what looks good, we're going to put a mark on either side of the caddy. That'll allow us to reference that when we're drilling this. Alright, so your backer plate is the same size as your Anchor Caddy, just ever so slightly narrower. So we're going to use this as our drilling template. So when you hold it up here, you're going to make sure that it's in between these 2 points that we put, and then we're going to clamp it to the transom using our clamp, and then our piece of wood is going to go on the back here so that when we drill through, we don't blow out the fiberglass on the back side. Very important step. Alright, so now it's time to drill our holes. I like to take a second and double check all my measurements, take a step back, stand in your boat, make sure it looks good, because you only get one shot at this and you really don't want a bunch of holes in the back of your boat. We're going to start off by drilling one of the holes. Got my safety glasses on, 5/16 drill bit, and we are going to go nice and easy, no need to push through this material. It's just going to risk blowing out the back even more. We do have our plywood back here that's going to help prevent that. But let's go ahead and start with one of the holes on the top. So we've got this top right hole drilled. We're going to take one of our bolts, we're going to slip it in there. That way when we put this next hole in, we're going to make sure that it's going to line up with that, and it's just going to make everything go a lot smoother. So we're going to see if we're still level, which we are. Double check everything again before drilling this next hole. Alright, we've got that second hole drilled. We're going to take our second bolt, we're going to slip it in there. And then now that it's locked in, it's not going to shift on us. We can go ahead and drill these next 2 holes in sequence without having to put the bolt in there. Alright, so we're going to pop our clamp off and pull our plywood off. And as you can see, that plywood minimized the amount of blowout that we would have gotten as compared to kind of the plywood here. Alright, so we've got our 4 holes drilled. I pulled the tape off. Now it's time to mount our caddy. So we're going to take our 4 stainless bolts. We're going to slip a washer onto each one. and we're going to come from the inside to the outside. So you want the head of the bolt on the inside of the boat. Alright, and so this is our backer plate that we use for our drilling template, which is going to serve as basically a giant wash around the back here. So we're going to put our bolts through there. Alright, so I've got my backer plate on here with the bolt threads exposed. Next step is we're going to take our little baggie of anti-seize and we're going to just cut a corner off. This stuff gets everywhere, so be careful. Maybe grab a paper towel. But we're just going to put a little strip on each of these bolts. Bolts and nuts are stainless, and stainless can gall, which basically seizes together. So putting this on is going to allow you to be able to take this off in the future rather than having to cut it off. Alright, final step, we're going to put a washer on each one of these, and then our nylock locking nuts. Alright, and then we're just going to tighten these down, and I would just get them snug and then maybe a quarter turn past snug. There's no real benefit to really wrenching on this, and it's just going to make it harder to get off in the future if you ever need to get it off. Alright, and there you have it. It is installed on the back here, ready for an anchor. This is a 30-pound green anchor. Should fit right in there nice and snug. You can take your strap, strap it down, and off you go. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you on the water.